What would you do if the call of something greater pulled you from the comfort of everything you knew, leading you to a new land where every step felt like a test of your resolve? Would you cling to the familiar memories that anchored you, or would you embrace the unknown, letting it shape you into someone stronger? This is my story, a tale of leaving behind a life of routine for the uncertainty of a new beginning, of struggling with a foreign language, and of finding purpose in the small victories that build a new home. It's about how growth doesn't happen in giant leaps, but in the quiet persistence of one day at a time. My name is Sophia. I am 30 years old. 3 years ago, I made the hardest decision of my life. I left my hometown in a small village in Italy and moved to New York City. It wasn't a choice I made lightly. I'd lived in that village my entire life, knew every cobblestone street, every neighbor's name, every recipe my nonna passed down through generations. The language was Italian, the people were family, and the days flowed like the river that ran through the center of town. But something inside me whispered that there was more out there, a world waiting to be explored, opportunities I couldn't find in the narrow lanes of my childhood. I wanted to grow, to challenge myself, to see if I could stand on my own in a place where no one knew my name. So, with a mix of fear and excitement, I packed my bags and bought a one-way ticket. The day I purchased that ticket is etched in my memory like a vivid painting. I was standing in my tiny kitchen, the afternoon sun filtering through the lace curtains, casting patterns on the tiled floor. My hands trembled as I hovered over the confirm button on my laptop. The flight was to New York, JFK Airport, a name I'd only heard in movies. I clicked, and just like that, my fate was sealed. I looked around the apartment, the worn wooden table where I'd shared countless meals with my family, the shelves lined with jars of homemade tomato sauce, the photo of my parents smiling on their wedding day. It was quiet, too quiet. I was alone in that moment, but I forced a smile. "This is for you," I whispered to myself. "You're ready." I felt brave, even if my knees felt weak. I didn't have a grand plan. Just one suitcase stuffed with clothes, a few family photos, and enough savings from my job at the local bakery to last a couple of months. My English was basic. I'd learned some in school, but it was rusty, full of forgotten words and awkward grammar. I was terrified I wouldn't understand anyone, that I'd get lost in conversations or directions. I didn't know how to find an apartment, a job, or even friends. But I told myself, you can learn, you can try. One step at a time. My family was supportive but worried. Mama cried at the airport, hugging me tight. "Be safe, mia cara," she said. Papa handed me a small envelope with extra euros for emergencies. My little sister Rosa waved with teary eyes. "Send pictures." The flight was long, 8 hours over the Atlantic, my mind racing with what-ifs. I stared out the window at the endless blue, whispering prayers for strength. My first night in New York was overwhelming. The sky was a deep indigo when the plane landed, and the air felt crisp and charged with energy. I took a taxi to a cheap hostel I'd booked online in Brooklyn. The driver spoke fast English with a thick accent I couldn't place. "First time here?" he asked. I nodded, clutching my bag. The room was tiny, a bunk bed, a locker, and shared bathroom down the hall. It was noisy, sirens wailing outside, people laughing in the common area. I sat on the bed, staring at the unfamiliar walls, feeling a wave of homesickness crash over me. But beneath it there was curiosity. I was here in one of the world's greatest cities, far from home but not sad, not yet. The next morning I woke early, jet lag pulling me from sleep. I bundled up in my coat and scarf. The October chill was sharper than back home, and stepped out into the streets. New York was alive, people rushing with coffee cups, yellow taxis honking, skyscrapers piercing the sky like giants. I held a small map I'd printed, my fingers tracing the lines. I walked slowly, reading signs: subway, coffee shop, library. Some words I knew, others I noted in my phone to look up later. I stopped at a corner cafe and bought a tea, pointing at the menu when my words failed. The barista smiled patiently. I sat by the window, sipping slowly, listening to the chatter around me. Snatches of English, fast, accented, full of slang. I wanted to understand it all. I pulled out my phone and searched for free English classes New York. A list popped up, one caught my eye, a community center in Manhattan offering beginner sessions twice a week. I saved the address, feeling a spark of hope. That afternoon I ventured to the New York Public Library, a grand building with marble lions guarding the entrance. It was warm inside, shelves towering with books. I found the English section and picked simple ones, children's stories with pictures. I sat in a quiet corner, reading slowly, mouthing words like adventure and friend. A librarian noticed her name tag reading Alina. "Need help?" she asked kindly. I mustered my courage. "I learn English." She smiled. "We have classes here, want info?" She handed me a flyer for free sessions. "Join us," she said. That moment gave me hope. Someone saw me trying and offered a hand. The next week I started the class at the community center. It was a mix of people, immigrants from Mexico, China, Syria, all with the same eager nervousness. Our teacher, Ms. Ramirez, was vibrant, speaking slowly and encouragingly. I sat in the back, notebook ready, heart pounding. I listened intently, writing down words like hello, thank you, and please. We practiced in pairs, but I whispered so softly my partner strained to hear. Still, it was a start. I met a woman from Colombia named Rosa. She had kind eyes and a gentle smile. "We can practice together," she said. We exchanged numbers and soon we were meeting for walks, stumbling through conversations in broken English. It was hard, words tangled on my tongue, but we laughed at our mistakes, helping each other untangle them. In the evenings, I practiced with an app on my phone, listening to short stories, repeating sentences, writing down new vocabulary. "This is how I grow," I'd tell myself. "It's new, not hard." After 2 months, I felt ready for more. I searched online for jobs, my English improving but still basic. I found a listing for a helper at a community kitchen. They served meals to the elderly and low-income families. I sent a message. "I want to help. I learn English but work hard." They replied, inviting me for a trial. Nervous, I dressed neatly and practiced phrases. "Hello, my name is Sophia. I can clean and serve." The kitchen was bustling, pots clanging, volunteers chopping vegetables. The air thick with soup aromas. The manager, Mr. Patel, smiled. "Let's see what you can do." I filled water glasses, wiped tables, and greeted people with "Hello, how are you?" It was busy, but I kept up, learning as I went. At day's end, Mr. Patel said, "Good work, come back tomorrow." I did, and soon it was regular, 3 days a week, earning enough to cover my hostel and save a bit. I learned phrases like "Would you like more?" and "Have a nice day," practicing with customers who patiently corrected me. I joined a walking group through the library, free every Saturday. The leader, Ms. Alina, the librarian I'd met, was welcoming. "Walking is great for practicing English," she said. The group was diverse, people from all over sharing stories as we strolled through Central Park. At first I listened, but soon I chimed in. "I like the trees here." Simple but real, Ms. Alina noticed. "Would you help greet new walkers?" I agreed, surprising myself. Standing at the meeting point, I said, "Hello, welcome, what's your name?" Each greeting built my confidence. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the city, winds biting, but I didn't feel cold inside. I had routines, classes, kitchen shifts, walks, app practice. Rosa and I met weekly, our English improving together. "You're my English sister," she'd say. One day Mr. Patel offered training, a free course on food safety and service. "You have potential," he said. I joined, studying evenings, passing with flying colors. "Now you can lead shifts," he said. Pride swelled, I was contributing, growing. Spring brought blooms and new opportunities. At a job fair I met Laura from a non-profit. "We need helpers for our community program," she said. I shared my experience, she hired me part-time. Now 3 roles: kitchen, walks, program, planning meals, teaching basics. I saved for a course on hospitality, dreaming of managing my own cafe one day. Looking back, that ticket to New York was my leap of faith. I arrived scared, but now I thrive. Friends, jobs, a voice in English. Growth isn't easy, but it's worth every step. If moved, subscribe, like, share. Comment your new beginning story. More soon, dare to dream.